Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to talk about tonight's defense. Also, I will show you also the position which I want to analyze in this video. Arises in Scotch Gambit. Okay, e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop c4, knight f6. This move is called tonight's defense. And now white has plenty of options, but my recommendation is to start d4. Very good, very logical continuation. White occupies the center and attack e5 square. And the most logical continuation for black here is to take on e5. So also this position arises after the next move order. Bishop c4, knight f6. Okay, and now very logical continuation for white to attack this knight, to play knight g4. And in this position, the typical idea, which is the typical idea for such type of positions, it is very similar to different openings after e4, e5, d5 break. Now there is no sense for white to take on f6 because of this move, and this is a not good position for black and for white, because after queen e2, bishop e6, we have very strong center, bishop pair advantage. Okay, and this is not okay, bishop b5. Now black has two options, knight to d7 and knight to e4. And in case of knight to d7, okay, knight to no, of course, in case of knight to d7 is not the main move here. Knight to4 is the most logical, the most popular continuation. Knight to d4. So, and this is a very the critical position. In this position, black has plenty of options, but okay, the most okay, not sorry, not plenty of options, not plenty of two options. Bishop d7, the most logical way to protect this knight, and the second is bishop to c5. And now for white, very important. Okay, bishop d7 we discuss later. Now a few words about bishop to c5. So, and here it is not good idea to take on c6 with knight. Also, this is a not good idea here to take with bishop. So, in case of bishop d7, to take with bishop is the strongest continuation. But here to take on, but after bishop c5 to take on c6 with bishop is not good idea. And very important, you have to remember bishop e3. And now, okay, after bishop d7, we can take with bishop, and it's okay. And this position we will cover later. But now I want to focus on short castle, and so in case of short castle, very important, and this is a very important moment, you have to remember it, to take on c6 with knight. Take bishop to c6. No, sorry, no, I think bishop takes on c5, very important, because in case of this move you have to, I think that there is an extra option for black, bishop e3, okay, and this is a more solid, take care, knight to c5, rook to b8, and okay, this position, this is a good position for white. Of course, there are some theory here, but okay, but if you're interested in it, I will discuss this in our in my future videos about tonight's opening, tonight's defense. Okay, but in the beginning I think that if you remember this, it should be okay for you. Okay, bishop to d7, what to do? Okay, now very important to take with bishop, this is a very good move. And now short castle. And this is a very complicated position, and I saw this position a lot in the games of my students. Most of my students are young players. I can it's okay. I can recommend this position for those who want to remember a lot of lines, a lot of so for those players who are ready to remember some theory. If you're not a big fan of theory, it is better for you to not to study this line and to focus on some d3 setup. Okay, I mean bishop c4 and knight f6, for example, knight f6, d3 always, okay, always d3, bishop c5 also d3. Okay, if you're not a big fan of, if you have some problem with memory, I think for you it's better not to study d4. Okay, and now short castle, and in this position black has three moves. Bishop c5, the main move and the strongest here, bishop e7, and of course very logical continuation c5. Also I want to say that in this setup a very good idea for black to improve this bishop and for the, and to occupy the center with c4, c5, d4 idea. Okay, but here unfortunately for black, white has a very strong idea, knight b3, and after bishop c6 to attack this knight on a5. So this bishop is vulnerable, and for example f3, knight g5, knight to a5, bishop to b4 and c4. And after this black has to resign, because this bishop on this knight on g5 is without protect. So c5 is premature. In case of bishop e7, so I want to, in case of bishop d7, white can play this f3 move, and now f4, and this is also a very typical idea for this setup, this to attack this knight, and f3 and then f4. So knight e4, and now knight to d2, for example, take, bishop d2, c5, very good idea. This is a very typical idea for black, as I said. But unfortunately, yeah, this is f5. And in this setup, if white occupy, okay, not occupy, if I advance this f5 and black allows white to play f5, white has a big advantage. Yeah, okay, it is better for black to try to block this pawn, but unfortunately I think it's not easy here, knight to g3, and so this is a very bad position for black. Okay, and now few words about, okay, if you want to study, if you want to get more deeply analyze of this setup, okay, leave some comments or after this video, of course, and I will, of course, I will discuss more deeply this setup. This is very interesting. And now a few words about bishop e3, bishop c5, or bishop e3, bishop bc. Of course, c5, d4 is the main idea, and black has to go for it. Yeah, but now we see this typical idea, f3 and then f5, f4 with tempo. Of course, to remove this knight. And now black's position is very dangerous, because if white want to play 5, then e6, and for this reason black has to be very careful. And a very good idea here is c5. Here white has two good options: knight f3, knight b3. In case of knight b3, very interesting idea. It was played in one of my games. I had black pieces in this game. I played against a very strong player, international master from Netherlands. Bishop c6 was played in the game, and it looks like they f5 and white has a fantastic position, but after knight b3, f5 is a terrible move because of this idea: queen d5, bishop g3, and c4. In case of knight c1, there is c3, and white has to resign, because in case of this there is check and this queen is hanging, so white has to resign. Yes, and very important is to play c4. And now f5 is a very unpleasant idea for black. Okay, once again, I want to repeat that if you want to get more analysis, more variations, okay, and more deeply, I will leave comments, and I will make a 30-minute video about this system. Yeah, and also a few words about knight to d7, very good move. Now short castle, bishop to e7, bishop c6 now, and knight d4. Very important, this knight b8 idea here. Okay, and this is a critical position. Once again, if you want to get more deeply analyze of this position, of this setup, I will do it in the future. Okay.